You woke up last night, maybe at 2 a.m., maybe at 3. You lay there in the dark, annoyed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to come back. You probably thought something was wrong with you. Nothing was wrong with you. What was wrong was the assumption, the idea that humans are supposed to sleep in one long, unbroken block from dark to dawn. Because that assumption, the one your alarm clock was built on, the one your doctor checks you against, the one that makes you feel broken when you wake at 3 a.m., that assumption is less than 200 years old. And for the 300,000 years before it existed, your ancestors did not sleep that way at all. Here is what they actually did, and here is why what they did accidentally gave the human brain something that no other animal on Earth developed in quite the same way. But first, here is the question that should already be bothering you. If sleeping in one block is so natural, so optimal, so obviously correct, why does roughly half the adult population of the industrialized world wake up in the middle of the night and struggle to fall back asleep? Why does this happen so consistently, so universally, across so many different people in so many different cultures, that it has its own clinical name? The answer is not that half the population is broken. The answer is that the behavior being measured against the wrong standard. In 2001, historian A. Roger Ekirch published a landmark piece of research that had taken him 16 years to complete. He had gone through more than 500 years of historical documents, diaries, court records, medical texts, literature, prayer books, from medieval and early modern Europe, and what he found inside them quietly rewrote what scientists thought they knew about human sleep. People did not sleep in one block, they slept in two. The first sleep began around dusk and lasted roughly 4 hours. Then people woke up. They were awake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, an interval that had its own name, which in English was simply called the watch or the watching. And then they slept again until morning in what was called the second sleep. This was not insomnia. This was not a disorder. This was the default. This was how humans slept for most of recorded history, and almost certainly for the hundreds of thousands of years before records existed. Ekirch found references to this pattern everywhere once he knew what to look for. Doctors prescribed activities for the watching. Writers wrote about it. People used it. The interval between the first and second sleep was treated as a natural, expected, useful window of wakefulness, a quiet time in the middle of the night when the house was still, the world was dark, and the mind was doing something that the daytime mind simply could not. And here is where it gets strange. Psychiatrist Thomas Wehr ran an experiment in the 1990s that accidentally recreated ancestral sleep conditions. He took a group of subjects and gave them 14 hours of darkness per day for a month, roughly what humans would have experienced before artificial lighting. What happened was not what he expected. Within weeks, without being told to, every single subject in the study shifted into the ancient pattern. First sleep, a period of quiet wakefulness. Second sleep. But what Wehr found during that waking interval was the part that changed everything. The subjects were not anxious. They were not lying in the dark, worrying. They were in a state that Wehr described as almost meditative, a quiet, calm, deeply rested alertness that he had never seen in his subjects during ordinary daytime wakefulness. Their prolactin levels, a hormone associated with the peaceful, trance-like state sometimes achieved in deep meditation, were significantly elevated. They were, in a measurable biological sense, in an altered state, not a disordered state, not a broken state, an ancient state, one that the human brain apparently produces naturally when it is given the conditions it was built for. Now here is what that means. For most of human history, every adult on Earth spent 1 to 2 hours per night in a state of profound, hormonally altered calm that is almost entirely absent from modern life. A state of mind that contemporary humans spend thousands of dollars and hours trying to recreate through meditation retreats, flotation tanks, breathwork protocols, and pharmacology. Your ancestors stumbled into it every single night by accident simply by waking up in the dark. What did they do with it? Ekirch's research gives us a picture. They prayed, they thought, They talked to their partners in a way that the daytime, distracted, task-oriented mind could not. They interpreted their dreams, which were fresh and vivid and immediately accessible, in a way that morning-remembered dreams never are. They had what one historical source described as a kind of clarity that daylight obscured. This is not nostalgia, this is neuroscience. The state Wehr documented, elevated prolactin, low cortisol, high alpha brainwave activity, is the state in which the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for insight, self-reflection, and creative connection-making, operates at its most unconstrained. The noise of daytime cognition, the to-do list, the social monitoring, the task switching, goes quiet. And in that quiet, the brain does something it cannot do anywhere else. It connects things that seemed unconnected. It resolves problems that daytime thinking had locked. It generates insights that feel, to the person experiencing them, like they arrive from somewhere outside themselves. Psychologist Ulrich Wagner ran a study in 2004 that tested a group of subjects on a mathematical problem that had a hidden shortcut. Most subjects could not find it through daytime effort, but those who slept between attempts, and particularly those who hit REM sleep followed by a quiet waking period, found the shortcut at dramatically higher rates. The sleeping, waking brain was doing something the awake brain could not. This is why so many reported moments of creative breakthrough across art, science, mathematics, literature have come in the early hours of the morning, in that quiet interval between one state and another. Not because those people were unusually gifted, because they were in an unusually receptive state that modern life has systematically eliminated. Here is what modern life did to this. In the 1800s, artificial lighting arrived. Gas lamps, then electric bulbs, then the whole cascading infrastructure of illuminated nights. The darkness that had structured human sleep for 300,000 years was pushed back. People began staying awake later. The window of first sleep compressed. The natural 2-hour waking interval shrank and then, for most people, disappeared entirely as they tried to push through the night in a single block to match the new social schedule that artificial light had made possible. Within a few generations, the ancestral pattern was forgotten so completely that when people woke in the middle of the night, they began to think something had gone wrong. The two-sleep pattern had been normal for all of human history. It became a disorder within 200 years. Sleep researcher Russell Foster has noted that much of what is now clinically labeled as sleep maintenance insomnia, waking in the middle of the night and being unable to return to sleep, may not be a pathology at all. It may be an ancient biological pattern asserting itself against a modern schedule that was never designed for it. Your brain is not broken when it wakes you at 3 a.m. It is trying to give you something. It is trying to open a window that your ancestors climbed through every night, a window into a state of mind that no daytime hour can offer, that no productivity hack can replicate, that no supplement can quite recreate. A quiet, dark, deeply rested hour that belongs only to you. The mistake was never waking up. The mistake was deciding that waking up was a mistake. So the next time you open your eyes at 3 a.m. and feel that familiar spike of frustration, you are not broken, you are not anxious, you are not suffering from a disorder. You are, for a brief and unrepeatable window, exactly what your ancestors were every single night, awake in the dark and more capable than you know.